So first of all, we're just gonna play a normal game against worst fish, and we'll see how that goes. Well, that was a short-lived pleasure. Beating worst fish isn't exactly a great achievement, but after all, the goal is actually to lose a game. So I challenged the bot again right away. Alright, we're just gonna play a game and now try to come up with a few bad moves ourselves. I quickly realized that losing pieces isn't that easy. The problem is, as soon as I place pieces in front of the opposing king with a check, worst fish will capture the piece, but only if the king has no escape squares left. Oh, willingly giving up a queen at the back against worst fish. Unfortunately, the bot doesn't do me the favor of checkmating me afterward. Instead, worst tries to blunder his own queen. After a while I had less material, but no way to actually lose the game. Then this happened. Threefold repetition. Yeah, so apparently it's not too hard to provoke a threefold repetition against worst fish. I sat down at the analysis board to come up with a strategy. It needs a better idea than just playing bad moves, and actually lose to worst fish. I think it's not enough to just play bad moves against worst fish, because the bot won't just checkmate us voluntarily. Instead we have to kind of, let's say, motivate it a little. It evaluates all the moves and then deliberately picks the worst one. So a checkmating move would never be the worst move if there's still another option. In other words, we need to reach a situation where worst fish has to checkmate us, because it's the only legal move in the position. And I've been thinking about it a bit, and I don't know, a position like this could be something. We have white here, we have two rooks and a bishop versus queen and bishop, so the material is roughly balanced. And now we would make a move, kind of a waiting move for now. And now worst would try to blunder the queen, and that's exactly what he does. He could capture here, or he could offer us the queen here. If he captures here, he gets a bishop in return. In other words, the bot would probably offer us the queen here, so that we would then capture with the rook. But if we say we don't capture with the rook, but instead we give a check here, then the king has no way to defend against the check. The only possible move for black here would be to checkmate us. And that would be one idea. I think that's how we could trap worst fish. After that, I played a few games and tried to implement the idea, but I realized that the checkmate pattern was a bit too specific, and it couldn't be easily repeated in a game against worst fish. I kept playing and playing and playing. The experience taught me that chess is more than just mastering the best moves. It's about tactics, creativity, and the ability to shine in critical moments. After some time, I changed my approach again. We're going to try again. My strategy has changed a little bit. I want to clear all the pieces off the board and then, with the pawn, force it to checkmate me. Instead of just playing chaotic moves, I focus on capturing the opponent's pieces and controlling the pace of the game. I place my king in the corner, with the goal of being checkmated by two of the bot's pawns. With my minor pieces, I block the pawns at first to set up the plan. So now I've got a pretty good setup, I'd say. The two pawns are supposed to checkmate me by capturing here and here. The king should eventually move over there, and I've just decided to keep that pawn as a little buffer in case I end up needing some moves later on. Then I can release the bishop here, and then black, even when I've supposedly put him in zugzwang, still has moves left. I put my plan into action and continue playing solidly, but by skillfully utilizing my pieces and holding back the opponent's pawns, I can dominate the game and control the course of play. The game is in its final moves, and despite all my efforts, despite my cleverness and adaptability, I was still somewhat surprised in the end. So his only move now is definitely to capture here, or to push this pawn here. If I simply block the pawn now, then He has to capture here, but then the pawn is left undefended. He has to be on this square here. So the king can't go here, not here, not here. Not here, he can still go there. We just need to use the knight to prevent the king from ever being able to move there. So the king can't go here, not here, not here, not here, not here. And if I now just push the pawn forward here, then he has to capture it. And we would have a checkmate. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. It is definitely possible to lose against worst fish. Ugh, yeah, you, have to think a little. Keep in mind when listening to my comments after the game that I'm from northern Germany. The reaction you saw was already close to ecstasy for me. This is not only a victory for worst fish, but also in a certain way, a victory for me. I have completed the worst fish challenge, a task that, in the end, really demanded a lot from me. If you enjoyed this unique chess challenge, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, here, I will introduce you to 7 opening traps that you can integrate into your opening repertoire without having any risk. These are what we call safe traps for you. Click on the video and I'll see you in the next one.